5:19, and can you figure out why? We're so glad that you're here, and hopefully everybody is watching, and that we have a guest with us today, and I can't wait to introduce him to y'all. So let's bring on everybody and welcome. Hello, Brad. Say
Hi.
hello say hello to our audience. You got it.
I got it. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Happy to be here.
Wonderful. All right. Monica and Regina, what is one special thing about Mingle that few to no one knows?
It's not as complicated as people want it to be. It's actually quite simple.
Monica?
I think few people realize how important it is to have easy access to people. And that's what Mingle offers, is easy access to like peopling.
Real people.
Real people, real help, real time.
Yeah. Real time.
That really care. That really
we know our motto.
Yeah.
People who care about you. Yeah, that's actually really an important piece of it too. What about you, Darcey? What's one thing that people don't know?
Brad, let's pass that question to you. Think of the answer.
Brad's like brand spanking new. What are you?
I'm so fresh insights.
Fresh insights on Mingle. Fresh insights on Mingle it's a very interesting platform. I am really intrigued by the whole perspective. I like the idea of being able to just pop in and collaborate and not feel like am I aligned with someone's calendar? Am I not aligned? It's well, you're there or not, and if not, I can send you a quick ping and then try that. So I really do like that option.
Nice.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I came up with an answer, so I was excited.
She deflected. That was amazing. Thank you, Brad.
That we get lost in the hallways. It's one thing that people don't realize in a virtual building. So yes. So that is my thought. We have one person watching, so if you're able to drop something in the chat and say hello and where you're from. Actually, it's my friend Floor. Hi, Floor, and hopefully calling you out doesn't embarrass you.
The other thing that's like funny about that, like you say you get lost in the hallways, it is actually the blessing and the curse of Mingle. Because we get lost in the hallways, you bump into people like you wouldn't think about like, oh, well, I'm going to go on in this virtual community and I'm going to see people on Zoom and I'm going to like run into someone in the hallway, right? Like that's not a concept that like someone can conceptualize really well about being in a virtual space, but we actually do run into each other in the hallways all the time. Like, oh, hey, I'm on my way to this one thing, but it's nice to see you. Like we actually bump into people. And that is a bizarre kind of like interesting effect of the space that we've created.
I think it happens it happens accidentally, like you happen to pass people, but it also happens intentionally, which I love, which is where I'll be kind of like in the midst of something, like in my office, just kind of like working on my own, or even in a space co-working with other people, and someone will pop in and they'll be like, I just wanted to say hi. Or like Monica's actually really famous for being like, I just wanted to say hi and I love you and that's it, you're amazing, and she'll just like leave. It's like, but that piece of human interaction, of acknowledging, hey, I see you, I wanted to actually value you for a moment, just to, whether it's to say hi or I love you or ask a question or whatever it is, but especially in those moments where it's like, I just wanted to say hi because I saw you were here. That doesn't get to happen in a lot of people's lives who are entrepreneurs, especially solopreneurs, especially those who are like working at home by themselves. And even in co-working spaces where you kind of like, a lot of people have told me they're looking for that, but they don't actually experience it, even in a physical space with other people, but they experience it in Mingle. And that to me is like a huge compliment.
It really is. So I have a pointed question.
Oh boy. Who are you pointing at?
Anybody who wants to answer it first, you all have to answer it. So,
Got it.
Where are entrepreneurs lying to themselves about being busy?
Oh, everywhere.
Jammy jam right here. Go ahead, Brad. Kick it off.
They are lying to themselves about being busy because they're too focused. They're focusing on the wrong things. Is the long and the short of it, that we too easily get absorbed in the things that we can accomplish, but that may not actually be helpful. And so that's the things that really can become problematic, because that dopamine effect is real. It's huge. And so you're like, I have completed this thing. And it's like, great. But how many hours did that cost you? And how is that really going to move your business? And it's not. And so, yeah, no, people, we are busy, but we are busy with the wrong things most of the time, because people do not say, is this aligned with where I want to be in 30 days? Quite bluntly.
Yeah. I like that. Thank
you. So I met Brad at Colleen's Immersive Experience in Maryland in person, and we like had a whole moment where we were like geeking out about like about this particular topic. So it's so interesting that you said this. But the honest to God truth is, there are so many things about your business that have nothing to do with money. And those are usually the things that everybody wants to spend all their time creating and doing. And I think it comes from that concept of like, well, if you're not working, you're not working. And the concept of like, I don't know if you guys were, when you were younger, but like if you were sitting still, like if you were doing something other than working,
idle hands or something.
Yeah, like parents were like, don't you have some homework to do? Or don't you have some chores to do? Or don't you have like, there's always something, you know? And so I think that busy work concept, or even when you had a 9-to-5 job, like if you didn't look like you were busy, then you weren't earning your money. And I do think there's like this like subconscious, like, oh, I have to be doing something in order to be profitable. But the conversation I have almost every day is like, but how many sales conversations did you have today? How many times did you actually talk to somebody and give someone an opportunity to actually pay you? And if the answer is 0 today, then you actually didn't work today.
That's fair. Yep.
So my answer, I mean, Monica's going to laugh at this. Actually, probably both. Brad, you and I haven't had a chance to meet before, so you're welcome to laugh at me too. But anyway, I'm going to say it's because people are focusing only on the what and not on the why. And 100%. Why is always my question, right? I'm the like annoying kid that's like, but why? But why? But why? I'm 46 and I'm still that annoying kid, right? And the thing that I think is happening, and this was just happening the other day, where somebody was like, I've got to work on, actually today, this happens every single day. Every single day I have a conversation with someone. I would almost like lay money on that, to say that every single day I have a conversation with someone and they're like, I've got to do this. I've got to focus on this. And I'm like, but why? And they're like, because that's what you're supposed to do. Who said who? Like, why are you actually doing that thing, right? Like somebody today was like, I have to make my website. And I was like, why? And they were like, so people can find me and know what I do. I'm like, well, what do you do? And they were like, okay, well, I've got to like put that into words, right? Like I was like, so you're focusing on where to put it, but you don't actually know what you're putting there first. And she knows what she does, right? And she was able to say it to me, but she was trying to create a whole website before really thinking about who am I? What do I do? Who do I want to work with? And so like building the website was this huge block of like frustration. And then when we backed it way up and we're like, okay, you really only need one page right now. And all you need is the page that allows somebody to connect with you. Let's start by building that page first with a simple statement. That was really easy to do and moved it forward. And then, wow, now you have a website to point somebody to that is usable, which is where you can have that conversation about, hey, do you want to work with me? Right? Like it's that piece is so important.
It is the hardest working page on the website. And what's funny is, so a lot of the times people will say, well, it's because what you're supposed to have, and there's so many people who have those contact pages, right? Where it's like, where your business is located, and then a little form for you to fill out and all those other things. And, you know, I agree. So like, I am not a why person. I'm a what person, but my what is very specifically directly connected to the why, which is why Regina and I work really well together. Is because what is the fastest way to get the answer to your why, right? Like, so if why you needed to build this website was because you needed people to know what you do, well, why do you need to know why do you want them to know what you do? You want them to buy something from you or take some sort of action. The next thing, that the only page you need to build is the action you want them to take, which is the very specific what, not the general why I'm in business for doing what I'm doing. And so sometimes people confuse the whys. For Regina actually asks what whys, and I ask why what.
Why what?
Was as clear as mud.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes total sense.
Can we pause just for a quick second? Hey, Rachel, thank you for listening while you're driving home.
Hi, Rachel. I was wondering if Rachel was going to come in. She's like a regular. I love it. Yeah. So the what, why, and the why, what's.
Yeah, but it's like super true, right? Like the why, what's are really come down to, when she's asking the why, she's asking like, why are you doing this? So you know what to do. And I'm always asking, what are you doing that gets you to your why? Right. And so it's one of the magics behind like why we actually work really well together, is because actually Abriana earlier was like, man, you guys are assaulting people and they don't even know it. Because she says, she goes, all the time, these people are like in here learning from you guys and you're assaulting them. And like, you guys, between the two of you, she'll throw you a lob and then you'll spike it on them. Or like, because
but some of us are equipped with. So just saying.
I mean,
some of us are equipped with them. So
the paddle is a brilliant system. But like, honestly, but that's really what it is. Like in Mingle, we've cut out all of the bull, right? And so when we're coming to actually work together, we're coming to work together for the very specific why. Why do you need this thing to do what it needs to do, right? Not the ever pondering version of why, but the like specifically, what are you trying to achieve here? Why, right? And then we actually go, okay, now what do you need to do in order to make that true in our space? And all of our work sessions are actually designed that way. And we also kind of like collaborate to make sure, even in our genius leaderships, that it's getting right down into that as well. So Regina and Darcey right now are helping me leadership at the moment, and they're helping me really like hone in on making sure that I'm getting them to exactly like what is the what why behind what we're doing this activity for. And we do that for each other as well, which is one of the best reasons to kind of like build thought leadership together in this space.
Sweet. So Rachel shares she got flustered and clicked us off. And she's actually at work until 5:30. So, which is Pacific time. So Colleen was here for a little bit, so I don't know if she's still here. So, but anyway, yep, I have a 2 by my eyeball. So this is Facebook eyeball. So
my eyeball. I was like, what are you talking about?
Kim, thank you for watching as well. So yeah, I turn on Facebook to see who's watching, and I don't know if anybody knows that I can see that you're watching. And so then if you dip out, it's like, why are you dipping out? I am that person.
Giving away the secrets. It's hilarious. Hi, Kim. I think that's actually something too that is interesting about what we do differently is we actually really don't. We have a really strong BS filter, and that BS filter is both the bullshit and the brilliant system. And I mean, it's not just Monica and I, which I do think both of us, like, we kind of lead by example with that, but everybody, people will call you out, right? They will call you out if you're like doing stuff that is just busy work just to be busy. So we have a really honest environment. And that is one where we are honest with each other, even when it's a tough truth. It's the end of the day. A tough truth, you know?
Another new word to our vocabulary. Hi, Jamie. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh my goodness. Hi, Jamie. And also when it's you have to actually like be truthful with yourself, right? Like people will call themselves out too. I do it. I'll be like, nope, that's not actually what I need to be doing. So it's the, I don't know, there's just like a level of integrity that is there with like how we each show up for ourselves and for each other. That's like really, really important.
Okay, so we're going to switch it up, if you don't mind, unless someone has a burning desire to share something. So in your opinion, what dies inside people when they keep hiding instead of being seen?
Oh.
What dies inside of people?
Mm-hmm.
When they keep hiding instead of being seen.
I think the child within them dies when they're hiding. So what's fun about our space is that we are mostly children that have aged. We're on our 45th anniversary, most of us, of being a child, and so we're like in this celebratory space of like really kind of showing up in this way and playing together. And I think because we try to create a playful environment, right? We have paddles and we have like laughter a lot. Most of the time when people are watching us work, they're like, you're not working, you're loitering. Like you're honestly loitering on the internet. But I think because we're, Marvis was like bragging about how finally she gets to be a brat, right? Like, and she, like, and do the whole thing. And, like, because we actually get to show up and play and be in play while we work, that part that did get hidden for so many years, because you had to show up and be like a real adult at other places, it gets to get unleashed differently in our space. And it's like one of my favorite parts. It's kind of why I have an alarm to stop working as opposed to an alarm to go to work, because that line sometimes gets blurred of when I'm supposed to be not working, but I'm like hanging out with my friends. What do you mean I'm not working? Like, like when the street light comes on and you had to go in the house because it was like time for dinner and like you had to be like a real, like, like responsible person at home. Like that's what it feels like for me sometimes, being in Mingle.
Put your water in there. Nice. All right. Anyone else want to share?
What dies inside when you shrink? How did you word it?
What dies inside when people are hiding instead of being seen?
I mean, I think it's your creativity, it's your expression, it's your joy, like all of those things, which are like are your playfulness, what Monica said. For me, it is, those things are embodied through expression and creativity and joy. So it's like, those are big emotions, those are big energies, big frequencies, and they really like, they don't like to be trapped. They like to be out in the open air and be able to be big. And so if you're hiding, they aren't vibrant, they aren't alive in the same way. And so I'd say that's what dies.
Yeah. So those who are watching, you please put your comments or your answers into the comments on Facebook. Mine is also on YouTube, but nobody really follows me on YouTube. Hint, hint. So.
Follow Darcey on YouTube. I'm also on YouTube at Maytree. Brad, are you on YouTube?
I am on YouTube. Calendar to Cash.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. Calendar for Cash. Subscribe there. Genius Activator. Yours is Mink Life Motivation, right? Is your YouTube?
I don't know.
There you go.
I have so many YouTubes, so I don't know. If you put Mink Life in anywhere, all of the things will pop up.
At Maytree, or my name, Regina Curtis, because if you put in Regina with a Y, you're going to find me.
Yeah. What about you, Brad? Would you like to share your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say that when you're not able to be your full self, you just exist. Like I find it too that, and unfortunately, when you run into leaders that truly don't recognize your skills and what you can be able to do, and they're like, well, no, I just need you for this. And it's like, but I can do so much more. And then you're just kind of, you just go through the motions until you're like, you know what, I've had enough of this. It's time to now go out on my own and take the risk.
Yeah. I kind of liken it to living in a box, right? You know the parameter of your box, you know how far you can grow, how far you can move, but you can't go beyond the walls. And so there's no room for expansion. There's no room to receive new ideas. And if you did, what do you do with them? Yeah. And so and then over time, I think that pressure depresses you both physically and mentally, where you kind of shrink. So that there is no desire to move on. So. All right. This question is going to, I think, give an interesting answer from Brad. What would happen if people treated their calendar like revenue, like a revenue strategy instead of a survival list?
If they did that, then their first thing would be is that when I ask them of what percentage of their time is actually going to get them money in the next 30 days, they would say 50-60% plus instead of 10-20%, which is where I hear a lot of people, unfortunately. And I think that's the challenge that we run into, because everyone's like, well, time blocking and time management. And I'm like, that's all well and good. It's a time and a place for that. But if your calendar is full of junk, time blocking and time management, you're just moving around a bunch of junk. So you're like, when is my best time I'm available? And when am I most active? Again, really good things to know, but what's the activity you're going to be doing with them? And so that's why I push back, and I'm like, time management's good, but you have to know what you're doing with it first.
Well said.
I heard junk in, junk out. You put junk in your calendar, you're going to get junk out you're going to get junk out of your productivity, right? Like if your time is actually not dedicated to actually producing. This is why I was like so excited when Brad was like, yeah, like I'm coming to build, I'm coming to grow with you guys. I was like, yes, another advocate for a good calendar. It's one of the first things that I say to every executive that we sit with, I'm like, let's look at your calendar. Your calendar is where it's all. If you aren't a master of your calendar, you don't run your business, and your business is probably running you. And so the calendar is the first conversation, and then the budget is the second conversation, right? It's like, where are you spending your time and where are you spending your money? And I can tell you everything about how your business is running from those two things. And so, yes, junk in, junk out. If you put junk customers in your thing, you're going to get junk money out. If you put junk time blocks in doing junky things, you're going to get junk money coming out of that calendar too. So yes, I amen corner the choir to Brad's here.
There does need to be a balance, right? And I know I heard you say that there needs to be a balance. And I think what is interesting is I've seen the swing go both ways, right? People who are chronic editors, maybe you call yourself a recovering perfectionist. Maybe you are like, I am a multi-passionate entrepreneur, right? There's a lot of different ways that you can say that. But it's the like, I'm building with no time on your calendar actually spent like making offers, inviting people into it, following up with people, all of those things. And then there are the people who are like stuck in the story of time equals money, right? If I'm not showing up and doing things that are money making activities, then I'm not actually I'm not running a business, right? I'm not working. It's that whole trap of the like busy work versus the valuable work. There does need to be a balance though, because yes, you do need to be inviting people to buy your stuff. If you are an entrepreneur, that is actually part of the game. It can be soulful selling. It can be done in a lot of really non-ick ways, right? But you are actually running a business. You need to actually receive money for that, right? Otherwise, it is not a business, and don't, just call it that and be like, I'm doing this for fun. That's a whole nother thing. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But you have to have that balance of both things, because otherwise you end up in feast and famine mode, right? So if you are only doing those, like I'm doing sales calls and I'm reaching out and I'm like having one-on-ones with people, then you get into that trap of like, okay, but now I haven't had any time to follow up or develop what's coming next or scale things, right? Or work on that budget or all of those things. So it can swing both ways really quickly. And I do think that balance point is necessary. And it doesn't always mean 50%, 50%, right? Because there are going to be times where you do need to swing a little more into the like, okay, I'm in a growth period. I need to do more sales calls and experiences and discovery and all of that. And there will be a time where you're like, need to swing more into the like development and evolution. But it's a constantly, it's a balance, right? It's like you have to be aware of that balance.
Yeah, I mean, the fun part about working with Regina is when we were every time we create any of the things for Mingle, we consult the seasonal calendar for it. And in consulting the seasonal calendar for it, and also kind of taking some of my genius about budgeting, and like these like blocks of times, we came up with this concept of 45, 35, 10, and 10. And the rotation of the things that you're doing to be in rotation based on your personal season's calendar of where you're putting your energy, because there are projects. So like in the charting your course systems, there's the prioritizing your projects, and you have like the thing that is brand new, and you have the thing that is like needs some
it's a list of random items or something that needs collaboration.
Something that needs collaboration. Exactly. And so you have all of those things that are happening at the same time, which sometimes I think entrepreneurs don't realize that, like, if you weren't a multitasker, you're about to get the master class of multitasking, because you have to be in the past, present, and future all at the same time every single day in your business. And so when we're working through combining our genius for this kind of like, how do I rotate through these things? We came up with that budgeting of time based on your personal season's calendar, and we've been working with it, and it's been 100% genius. Not to toot our own horns, but like it's helped me really kind of like know what to focus in on right now so that I can not feel guilty for giving one project more time than the other one, still rotating through, making sure we're getting everything done.
Yeah. It's like how you're focusing on it is really important because, and that is a form of budgeting, right? And that is what that calendar, yeah, I'm excited to talk to you more, Brad, about calendars. Calendars are my jam also, but in a different way than Monica's.
And then I have my own jam with calendars.
You do? Well, yeah, we're all calendar nerds here. I mean, that's the real secret. This is really the calendar nerd club. And so if you're nerdy about calendars, come and join us.
Well, there's I was reflecting as y'all were sharing about plotting the information that is not junk on your calendar, but how do you discern if it's junk or not? When you have a mindset, you go in and say, I'm going to be this kind of entrepreneur when I don't really know myself, right? But I know I want to help people with this. And I go in and I fill up my calendar with different things. And then I get frustrated because it's not filling my soul.
Is it empty calories, right? Is it fulfilling?
It's the
right?
garbage
So
cereal.
Exactly, right? There's a fulfillment piece of it, a satisfaction piece of it. So is it satisfying your income, right? Your revenue? Is it satisfying your joy? If it's not doing one of those two things, then it is junk, right? But it doesn't mean that not everything that's not helpful at the moment isn't necessarily junk, right? So something might be super fulfilling for you. I am an artist. I love to make art. And actually, my art is very useful in my business because I use it in my decision-making process. I use it in my creative process in a lot of different ways, right? However, to only do that all day long and then not take the information that I got and then leverage that information, it wouldn't be junk, but it would be a distraction, right? So there's a difference between junk and distractions. And I think that needs to be something that you figure out very quickly.
So the whole idea of calendars is very nuanced. And there has to be a foundational piece and then have it built on. And so Regina's system of charting your course absolutely helps you identify who you are. And so this is, again, is the beauty of Mingle. And yes, I am a fan of Mingle or I wouldn't be here. And then we have Monica's system that helps refine that in a different way. And so then to take it and what they offer and then bring it into your own workspace and to look at what you do and how you do it is so beneficial and can accelerate your growth, your business growth, and your own healing, your own professional development at the same time. So there is a lot of value within Mingle, which is,
Yeah, and counting though, because like again, one of the reasons why I was like so excited for Brad to come into the community is because we are, all three of us are calendar nerds, right? Like Darcey talks about the portals, and Regina talks about the seasons, and I talk about your energetic days and how your day is actually structured in a lot of ways. But when I was having the conversation with Brad, and he was talking about like, okay, now that we have that, like now, you need to do things, but like, how are you actually looking at that calendar as an algorithm of like what the outcome is going to be? It then was like, oh, you just took our geeky calendar level, like you just like 10x you just 10x'd it. And so it's one of the things that I'm like, this is why we love like kind of bringing new voices in, because although we're already here talking about calendars all the time, that new voice, that new perspective comes in and really kind of like takes everything we've been doing to the next level and reinvigorates all of us in our nerdiness about that thing being better. And that's one of the reasons why like I'm so stoked for Brad to be a part of the community.
Yeah, because it's all a system, and so it's thinking about like you're feeding your system. And that's the thing. Like I see everything with as systems, and calendar, it's just time, but it's time spent, and it's time allocated. That's a resource. And so when you see chaos going into your system, or your system's not working the way you want it to do, then you have to look at your available resources and see, well, what did I want this to do? And when I know what I want it to do, just like any machine, figuring out, okay, well, this impacts this, this impacts this, this impacts this, and this impacts this. So then, oh, I see here, I don't have enough resources of time put into this for all these other pieces and stuff to work. I don't have enough pieces in here of funds that I need to put in here to make this to work. So it's really just breaking just breaking it down in that mechanical way.
I hear the touchstones.
Go ahead and expand on that. Touchstones.
The touchstones?
Mm-hmm.
So the touchstones are your success kit, basically. They're the things that you, the way that you do things naturally, and let me just say it. They are the tools, techniques, teachers, time, talents, and what's the one I forgot? Teachers that support you as you navigate your life and your business, right? And time is a huge piece of that. But not only time is like, yes, it is a touchstone. You can look at like, how are you utilizing time as far as like a calendar goes and things like that. But things like sequencing, that's really important, which is really falling into Monica's genius, but also into Darcey's, right? Because the sequencing of how time unfolds in your internal world and also your external world, right? But then you've also got tools and technology, things like your digital calendar and the reminders that are there, and how you're bringing in that technological piece through your budgeting, like taking the calendar and the budget and putting those together and looking at like, where am I budgeting time? Where am I budgeting money? How is the money coming in? And are these two things actually aligned in how I want them to be? So there's a lot of uses for that. And it's one of the core pieces, one of the core elements of the Charting Your Core system that I really recommend for people to get to know. There's certain times of the year that you actually can leverage those touchstones in a different way. And so when you understand your timing, then using things like your calendar, your digital calendar, your budget, your marketing, your strategy, all of those things get elevated because you understand like what you need when you need it. And then you can bring in the right tools to meet that so that you actually are sustaining your goals all year round, even when your energy is fluctuating.
Wow. Some things are simple on the surface until you get a little below, and then there's just expands into so much support in how we're living, what we're doing, and how we're interacting. So it brings me to the last question, which I think is really pertinent to Mingle and to humanity, is why are so many people surrounded by humans yet starving for real connection? Brad, let's start with you.
Surrounded by humans starving for real connection is because we're still in a performance culture. And there is that space of and this is the other part of the culture. Like, we don't have the freedom to fail. We don't. And so like there's not a safety net. It's that space of, even if you go out into it's like you get into that mentality and you're like, so yeah, I'm around the people, but I'm not going to go connect because I'm not going to go risk making a fool of myself. And it triggers back to time when you were younger or something like, and that was one of the things that I had to start getting past of the, okay, well, I'm not going to face rejection, so I'm going to pre-reject, so that you can't make me feel like I did when I was younger. And so and there's so many of us that are now in that space that, and I think unfortunately the pandemic kind of just exacerbated that, we got into that point of well, I've been doing this so long on my own, and that I'm like, I'm here, but I'm not here unless you come and find me and you come into my space. That's fine, because my space is safe, and I'm come into my space. I'm not going to go into your space, even if we're still occupying the same area.
Yeah. So shout out to Colleen Struby for introducing us to Brad. Okay. First things first.
Thanks, Colleen.
Thank you, Colleen. And also, that you nailed it. You nailed it. And it is one of the reasons why, I hate to sound like a broken record, why Mingle feels so wonderful to all of us, because we're actually encouraged to fail faster, and to make mistakes and to show up in a real and authentic way, because the only way to success is failure. Right. And so when you have a space where we want you to fail, but like fail with us, right? Like fail with friends, so that like if you fail, like we can all kind of like help pick you up, or pick up the pieces, or kind of point it out before you actually go fail out in the world where it's less safe. Then it makes it easier for you to hurry up and get to success. I fail miserably daily spelling. As a matter of fact, earlier today, Darcey was sending me many screenshots of this document that I wrote that needed some additional support on it, right? And that is the kind of space that we've encouraged, even though we're founders, right? We're looking for help me fail quickly here, so that when I present myself to the rest of the world, that I'm actually showing the rest of the world what it looks like to be successful.
So many things that you said. We could have a whole nother conversation about this. And it kind of definitely ties back into the first question of like, I don't know if that was the first question, but about staying small or hiding, right? Like, and what you said that really stood out to me the most, even though a lot of it did, was about come into my space, right? Like there is this performative culture of like surface level connections and like and follow and all the things, but then keeping like your safe space really close to your heart, right? Really close in. And what we strive to do here is to not say leave that space. We say bring that space with you, right? Open a door into this hub, this kind of like community where there are many doors, but you can keep your safe space, right? And just like allow there to be a door into a larger space, and allow for there to be some traffic that kind of comes and goes for the people who need that amazing cozy space that you have created in whatever way it is that you've created it, right? It's not to say like now you need to just like spill it open or break down the walls and like forget about that, because you put a lot of energy into building it and there's importance there. There's something really important there. So that's why we really have this like plug in, not like it's not the right way to say it, but like there's a connection point where you can create that doorway that opens up so that you can come in and you can mingle, right? Like this is why we call it mingle. You can come in and you can mingle and you can learn and you can play and you can fail and you can do all of those things, and you still have that sanctuary that is what you have built. It's not this or that, it's this and that.
I like that. This and that. So we're coming up to the end of our time. We have about 8 minutes left. So what is one thing or several that you want to leave with the audience, or just us four? Okay. So Who would like to go first?
Well,
please.
I will say that one thing I've been really reflecting on a lot lately is that it's not just about the gap between the income that you're bringing home to your family and the effort that you're putting into it. It's really, what does that mean? And one thing that really started resonating a lot with me, especially is when you think about your business structures and you're trying to understand like what's going on, why isn't this working, etc., is because when the math is broken, the family pays for it. And I think that's something that especially if you're trying to balance your business and you're trying to understand where that is at, that if you don't know what's going on with your business, then your family's going to pay for it, in the sense of that's further fights that are going to be potential happening with your spouse, that your kids may be saying, I don't know if I can afford the time to be with my parents, like those kinds of things. And also the whole piece of, are you going to be at risk of missing out on an event because you've allowed your business to run, like we said before, like you've allowed your business to run your family's not running your business.
Can we just punctuate that for a second? When the math is broken, your family pays for it. That was cool. That was a hell of a quote. Also, do you know Doreen? Have you met Doreen?
I've met her a little bit, and we definitely need to connect more. Yes.
I was like, sacred numbers happening right there. That was powerful.
Yeah, they also met at the immersive at
that's right. Yes.
Yeah. Damn, Brad, that was a mic drop moment.
That should be a hashtag.
Right. It's one of those things where like I try to be super present and not be thinking about my answer before it comes up, and then you like said something so profound that now I'm like, oh shit, where's my train of thought because of what you said. Damn it, Brad.
It was definitely thought provoking. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the crazy thing so the thing that I've been thinking a lot about is in circulation, and this was actually kind of like started by Darcey because we're doing this challenge that we decided to do personally together, to kind of like have better kidney health. And in one of the experiences of the way that we kind of connect with each other, I really started thinking about like circulation. And then I had a conversation with my husband about said circulation. And then I had a conversation about circulation with Regina. And what it all boiled down to was, if we aren't circulating, right, our time, our energy, and our resources, they get stagnant and create disease. Mm-hmm. Right. And so if it's pulling in any particular area, it's actually going to really deprive another area of the energy, resources, and time that it needs. But also it like is going to create inflammation and bloating and discomfort in the other areas. And so really kind of creating this circulation is really important. Circulating ideas is really important because there's a filtration system that happens when you are circulating your ideas, which is why my work is getting better from being a part of Regina's life and being a part of Darcey's life. And now, Brad, like, again, this one conversation, you're blowing my mind. So thank you for the circulation of your ideas. But the same thing with our money, right? Like when it circulates, it picks up momentum and comes back to us in different ways and allows us to nourish ourselves. Like the circulation of the time where we're spending time with multiple people and the circulation of our energy in multiple spaces, like all of those things require circulation. And so that has been my the contemplation that I've been, thanks to Darcey's challenge. And I think very important to this conversation that like, if you aren't circulating your time, your energy, and your resources, or you don't know where or how to, I think we would love to support you in helping you understand how to be better, get a better circulation out of those things, so that you are really experiencing what it feels like to be truly alive and like truly like healthy in your existences, whether it's in life or in business.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is a good conversation. So much like my answer before about like the balance and how things swing, is sometimes the remedy or the solution to the problem is actually not in this, it's still in the circulation, right? Or the investment of resources, but it's not necessarily in the same aspect, right? So sometimes you're putting in so much time and what's not coming back is the money, right? So you're trying to put in more time to get more money in return, but what you might actually need is a different idea, right? Or maybe it's not so much that you need more time, you need to spend your time differently, right? So there's like it's interesting to look at kind of like what that balancing point is and how those energies are circulating, because and that's what I think is really powerful about getting out of that, like sitting in your office, powering through, trying to do this all by yourself, and coming into spaces where there are other people doing it. Because a lot of times, even just being in the space, right? Just us being here having this conversation just shifted all of our perspectives just because we were having a conversation, right? And what I see happen so often in our like digital co-working space and in our immersive retreats that we have and like the different spaces that we gather together is we'll be like focused on something that has nothing to do with your issues with your budget or your like offer that you've been trying to like put together, right? And somebody will come in virtually or in person, or some experience will happen, and suddenly it's like, oh, total shift of perspective, right? That you wouldn't have gotten if you were just sitting in your office trying to like cram yourself through this thing that you just are so frustrated and you're trying to get it out because you think this is the one thing that you need to do. And like having that dynamic environment and those different experiences, and even just like the shifting of energy. Sometimes we say this all the time. You've probably heard it before if you've watched this before, but like sometimes like Darcey came in one day, Monica and I were having a conversation. She pops in and she's like, oh, thank you. Bye. And we're like, for what? And she's like, oh, I got what I needed. Thanks. Monica does it all the time too, right? It's just like, oh, okay. Or somebody will just come and be like, oh, I just saw your face and that's all I needed. All I needed was to see your face. And then I got exactly what I needed from it, right? It can be quite magical when you allow it to be.
Well, and that's the key on circulation is you have to show up. If you're not in this, speaking of mingle specifically, you have to come in and mingle. You actually have to come in and look at people and have conversation or look at their face and move on, but stay within one of the offices because there's energy that is flowing throughout this virtual space. And we need to have that. There's the other piece of circulation as well, as looking at some of my work is about the Trinity weave. And so there has to be a circulation with that within your sacred core, into your sacred surroundings, and then out into the life sphere. And breathing in that, utilizing the body, the spiritual body, the physical body, the energetic body, and continuing on. The beauty of the human body is that when you breathe in, you oxygenate your blood. This is a science fact. It only takes about 20 to 40 seconds for that to flow through that circulatory, that system. That's all. I'm thinking, oh, it's going to take a day. No, I had to Google it. Oh, the great Google told me. So if we follow the metaphysical, thought process, we breathe in intention. So we're attaching intention to the oxygen that is attaching to our blood, and it's going through our body in 20 to 40 seconds. That's freaking powerful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you allow your body to retain that in lieu of letting your mind override it with, well, there's bills to pay, there's laundry to do, there's this,
Right.
that, and the other, and stay within that joy and allow the joy to circulate. And then you go out and you spread the joy. You love bomb everybody, right? And so, we pollinate with love. So
it's a whole another layer to embodying your wisdom, right? Or embodying it's like if you actually like intentionally breathe that in and let it circulate through your body, it is touching your, like
everything.
It's actually being embodied and circulating through your entire system, and that radiates out. I love that.
It does. Absolutely, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Monica, we can't hear you. I don't know why.
Are you muted? We see your lips moving, but no words are coming out.
Dang it.
How about now?
$1 million. Yeah, there it is.
And you went away. Can you type it into chat and someone else will read it for you? Although I don't know where the chat is.
It's the private chat down on the left. I don't know. The words aren't coming.
Brilliance there.
Apparently that's wisdom, and it keeps your own body.
Until the next chat. All right. I want to thank everybody for being here. This was an awesome conversation. I appreciate wisdom and all the hashtags that came out of your mouth, Brad. So it's like powerful stuff.
Thank you for letting me be.
Thank you.
Yes. So good.
I love the pollinate with love, Ren says. And hello, Ren. So we lost Monica totally. So.
Lovely. Gone. Apparently it's time to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Do you want to wrap us up?
But I don't know how to turn it off air.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can't turn on the
leave.
There she is.
Wait, there she is. She's coming back. That would be crazy. We're like just stuck on air forever until Monica comes back.
This is now our container.
Permission to leave.